Hello student, today we will discuss the next topic of syllabus chapter number 1, that is resource conservation. We have already discussed about what is resource, what is resistant, what is neutral stuff, and what is the characteristics of resource as well as classification of resources. That topic we have finished. So next topic is resource conservation, its definition and its importance. So before going to the topic, I'll try to make you understand what is resource conservation. Resource conservation, it means the utilizing of natural resources without wasting, without disturbances, without destruction, that it can sustain long time. Okay, that is resource conservation. That means we have to use the resources. We cannot stop utilizing the natural resources. We have to use the resources, but without any wastage and without any destruction. That is resource conservation. Okay, so you have seen in the board topic resource conservation, and here I have given the definition. It is the main definition what you have to write in your exam. If you ask what is resource conservation, this definition you will write. Okay, see the definition: the concept or act or possible complete utilization of any resource without any destruction and misuse is called as conservation of resources. Okay, this is conservation of resources. You try to remember the concept or act of possible complete utilization of any resources. That means we have to utilize all possible utilization, okay, of any resource, but without any destruction and misuse is called as conservation of resources. This is the policy where we have to utilize the natural resources as much as possible without any misuse and without any destruction. This is called resource conservation. Don't mix up with sustainable development. Okay, in sustainable development is different thing and conservation resources is different. So conservation of resources, utilize the resources without any wastage and misuse. Okay, the main objectives of conservation of resources is given here. You see the main objectives of conservation of resources. This is the main objective. That means we have to collect and use natural resources. We have to collect and use natural resources in such a way so that we get benefit from this for a long time. That means we have to use the natural resources in that way that it can give more benefits to us for a long time. That means longevity. Our main plan is to increase the longevity of the resources. Okay, this is the main objective. Again, I am reading this main objective. We have to collect and use of natural resources in such a way that we get benefit from these resources for a long time. This is the objective of conservation of natural resources. Next, see the conservation of natural resources. Why it is important? Why we need conservation of resources? As you have seen, the present generation, that means technological human being, we destructing the natural resources in very rapid, in reckless way. All the developed countries like China, USA, Japan, they are using natural resources very rapidly and in reckless rate. They are not thinking about the resources, thinking about the nature. They are just using the natural resources. They are wasting the natural resources, and because of that, the longevity of the natural resources has decreased, and the amount of natural resources which was present before, it's decreased in a very rapid rate. To stop this decrease of natural resources and increase the longevity of the natural resources, we need to use resource conservation. That means resource conservation, it does not mean that we should not use the natural resources. We have to use the resources for the human being and human development, but we have to use it in that way that it can sustain long time. Our future generation who is coming after us, they also should avail these resources. Let's say simple example. If coal and the storage of coal and petroleum in the earth has decreased in a minimal amount, very less amount. So if we use this coal and petroleum with rapid rate, reckless manner, that means we misuse it, we waste it, then what will happen after 15 years, after 100 years, this coal and petroleum will finish from this earth. Then after 100 years, our upcoming generation will be there after 100 years. So what they will use? What they will use? Because all the resources have finished. So what they will use? They will not have any resources, and they have to live in ancient life again. So for that purpose, we need to stop the wastage, minimize the use of natural resources, and stop the reckless usage of natural resources for our greed, for our development. We have to use it in a rational way. We have to use it in minimum amount, and we should stop misuse and wastage. This is conservation of resources. If you see, the developed countries are like they have less population, but they are utilizing more amount of resources. Like country like China, China have more population. Country like Japan, USA, they have in compared to India and China, Bangladesh, they have less population, and they are utilizing more natural resources, and they are wasting their natural resources, and they are developing and reckless development. They are doing reckless development. Because of that, what happened? The resources of the earth is decreasing, and they are also destroying. In different way, they are destroying. They are utilizing like resources in reckless manner. In such way, they are misusing, as well as they are. Because of their utilization, pollution is created. Because of pollution, some natural resources are going to be extinct from the earth. Some natural resources mean in conservation, though we are discussing non-renewable resources which cannot be renewed, like coal, petroleum, iron, this cannot be renewed. But renewable resources also destroying. We can conserve renewable resources also. Renewable resources means the biotic resources, the plants and animals. If you see, because of the pollution it's created from what? Created from utilizing the natural resources. Coal you are using, and we are producing carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide. These resources, we are petroleum, we are using vehicle we are using petrol, diesel, etc. These are creating pollution, and because of this pollution, what happens? These animals, different types of animal species and plant species, which are very precious for this equilibrium condition of the environment. We are like destructing them. We are destroying them. We are pushing them to go to the treated, pushing them to be extinct. Like some animals and some plants, some birds are going to be extinct in next decade, next 1 decade, 2 decade. Already some of the species are extinct from the earth, like vulture. It is a rare species, rarely seen in the earth. It is a very important. It was a very important species on the environment. It was a scavenger, very good scavenger. But in the earth, it is rare species. It is only because of the because of our pollution, because of our activity, human activity. So this is resource conservation. I think you have understood using of resources, and stop misuse and stop wastage. This is resource conservation. Next, we will go to resource conservation. That means resource conservation, it is not only for non-renewable resources, it is also for renewable resources. Renewable resources means plants, animals, birds. These are renewable resources. It can be renewed. Okay, a human being, we are also renewable resources. It can be renewed. But because of this reckless development of the human being, human society, human civilization, what happened? These animals and plant species are in threat. Some of the important, that means precious, I have written here, some precious biotic resources of the globe, some precious biotic resources, some precious animals of this earth. They are like tiger, elephant, rhino, dolphin, lion, etc. They are some precious animal of the earth. So they are going to be extinct. They are in threatened position. If human being continue their reckless development, they will these resources, biotic resources, these animals will going to be extinct from the earth. So for that we are taking some initiative. The government have taken some initiative. The international organization taking some initiative. Like for tiger, they have developed Project Tiger to give food, to give good habitation, to give like protection to the tiger. Tiger is important. If it's finished, there will be some inequilibrium condition in the environment. So tiger, for saving the tiger, we are given some method, some project as a resource conservation. Tiger, Project Tiger, Project Elephant, Project Rhino. As you can see in Assam, Project Rhino, Project Tiger is also there in Manas. Project Rhino is there in Kaziranga. Dolphin is very important. It is seen in River Ganga. This dolphin is very important, and this dolphin, they also have a Project Dolphin, and Project Lion. These are the some important projects which have been taken by the government for saving this important, most precious resources of the earth. Next, some this was about the world and India. Now we see about Assam. In Assam also have some important species which are in endangered position. Endangered means which are going to be extinct, near extinct position. If we cannot, if we do not give any protection, do not take care of these animals or trees, then it will go to finish. It will finish from this world. So these are called endangered, near extinct species. So some species endangered tree of Assam is like, it is given in your book. You see Salpuori, Sarpaganda, Kalmek, Ogor, it is called Ogoru in Assamese, Ogoru, and Arjun. These are the important plant species. Arjun, Ogoru, then Sarpaganda, Salpuori, Kalmek. These are some important plant species which are going to be extinct. They are very important species, some precious, very precious plants of this earth, basically found in Assam, and they are going to be extinct. So we have to give special care to these plant species. Next is see some endangered animal species of Assam. Some endangered animal species of Assam, like Assam rhino. They are in threatened position, not actually endangered. It is in threatened position. The government has given so many projects. And local NGOs also are taking care of these animals in Kaziranga as well as Manas. Golden langur. Golden langur is important one, which is basically found in near to you, like in Kokrajhar area. Raimona new national park have designated in Assam. That is Raimona National Park. And Raimona National Park, in there, it is famous for golden langur. Golden langur, it is basically found in some small patches of Assam. So it is very important and threatened species. Important species, but which is in endangered category. Golden langur. Next, Bullock gibbon, another kind of monkey, which is also in threatened position, endangered position. Next is pygmy hawk. Pygmy hawk, another species of animal, which is like a wild pig. So it is also in threatened position. Gangetic dolphin, it is called Shihu in Assamese. It is Shihu in Assamese. In Bengali, in West Bengal area, it is called Susu. So it's Gangetic dolphin. It is also a threatened endangered species of Assam. White-winged duck, very important one. White-winged duck, it is the state bird of Assam. White-winged duck, it is also called as Devha. So Devha is also an in endangered category in Assam. Don't be confused in endangered and rare, endangered, extinct. I'll tell you this definition, the theory, like concept of endangered, extinct, and rare when we discuss IUCN. So this was the main concept of resource conservation, the definition, objective, as well as the important species which are in threatened position in Assam as well as in India. Okay, so this was resource conservation. Okay, moving to the next topic. The next topic is the organization, various organizations which are working for the conservation of natural resources. So there have three types of organization. One is international organization, who is internally all over the globe is working for the conservation of natural resources. One is national organization, like nationwide, state or like country-wise national organization, as well as state organization. State organization, like in Assam, we have some state organization who is working for the conservation of natural resources of the state. So first of all, we will discuss the international organization who is working and what they are doing. So first organization of international organization, that is IUCN. IUCN, you can see here, International Union for Conservation of Nature. This is the first organization who is working for the all over the globe for the conservation of natural resources. But it was a part of UNO, United Nations Organization, Rashtra Sangh. We used to say Rashtra Sangh. The UNO. Under UNO, there have a branch, that is UNESCO, United Nations Education, Scientific and Cultural Organization. UNESCO. Under UNESCO, in 1948, the then director of UNESCO, in that time 1948, that time director of UNESCO was Julian Huxley. I have written here Julian Huxley. You should remember this name. In 1948, the director of UNESCO was Julian Huxley, who have given established or formed a organization which name was given as IUCN, the important one, IUCN, who is working for the conservation of nature and natural resources all over the globe. IUCN, you should remember, IUCN, International Union for Conservation of Nature as well as natural resources. This is the main organization who is working for the conservation internationally. See, it is a small part of UNESCO. It is it is established from UNESCO, and UNESCO, it is a part of UNO. UNO is the largest one. Then UNESCO, and part of UNESCO was IUCN. And IUCN, it have two branches. One is WWF, World Wildlife Fund for Nature, Wildlife Fund for Nature, WWF, World Wildlife Fund for Nature, as well as another one, WCMC. WCMC, it means World Conservation Monitoring Center. World Conservation Monitoring Center. Under IUCN, there have two branches, WWF, WCMC. WWF, World Wildlife Fund for Nature, and World Conservation Monitoring Center. These two are working for the conservation of natural resources with IUCN. So, what is the main objectives of IUCN? IUCN they are working for the conservation of nature as well as natural resources. What are the activities they basically perform? I'll tell you. Before that, you should know what is the objectives of IUCN. The main objective of IUCN, I have written here, you see, to study, research and act on the nature and biodiversity. To study the biodiversity, environment, as well as research on that environment, on the natural resources, and act according to that. Okay, this is the main objectives of IUCN, to study, research and act on the nature and biodiversity. Okay, so IUCN, it is the main organization who is basically working on conservation of natural resources, as well as it every year IUCN publish one book. The name of the book is Red Data Book. You should remember this name. The IUCN published one book. That book is Red Data Book. In that book, every year they publish the species list. Species list means there have some extinct species, endangered species, rare species, vulnerable species, These are the species list. That means according to their threatening, according to their condition, present condition. This IUCN has always published, every year publish one book, that is red data book. In that red data book, they include the species name who is in extinct species list. Every year some species are extinct from the earth, finished from the earth. They are no more available in this earth. This species list is published by this IUCN every year, not 1 year, every year. Who is in endangered list? Every year some species is going to in endangered list. That means they are in threatened zone. That means if we do not protect, if we do not conserve them, they will finish from this earth in next few years. Rare species means all those species which are rare in condition, which are rarely seen in this earth. They are already in extinct position and rarely seen in this earth. These species are given in rare category. Then vulnerable, which are very much threatened. They are threatened. That means they are not going to be extinct, but they are slowly they are threatened by the environment, threatened by the human development. Okay, these are vulnerable species. This species list is published by IUCN every year, red data book. According to this red data book, the IUCN act on that area. If it is seen like our 1 rhino, it is in endangered species list. So they will give some donation, they will give some money. From where? They will give some money from Wildlife Fund for Nature. They will give some money to protect this one horn rhino, to give food to this one horn rhino, to protect their habitat of one horn rhino, to give medicinal care, to give other protection to this wildlife. Okay, this is published by IUCN, and according to this publication red data book, they will work according to that. They will monitor everything. They will monitor. Okay, this year the tiger was 50%. 50 tiger number was 50 in Manas. So next year they will see. Okay, the tiger population has increased to 60. Next year they will see. Okay, tiger population has increased. They will monitor. That's why it is World Conservation Monitoring Center. It is one center is there, which is running all the centers of the globe, and they are looking at the census of the rate of population. Okay, they will monitor. So this was the international organization who is working for the conservation of natural resources. The main one is IUCN. IUCN, it is a part of UNESCO, and UNESCO is a part of UNO. UNO is the largest one. From UNO, it is coming to. Next, you see, under IUCN, there have two centers. One is Wildlife Fund for Nature and World Conservation Monitoring Center, WCMC. These are the two main branches of IUCN who is working with IUCN to protect the conserved natural resources. Okay, this IUCN was formed by the Julian Huxley, the first director of UNESCO, Julian Huxley in 1948. Okay, the objective was to study, research, and act on the nature and biodiversity. Okay, the IUCN always every year publish one book, that is Red Data book. Always remember this name. Okay. So next is national organization. So we have already discussed international organization. Now we'll discuss national organization. There are very less number of national organization some of them are government organizations, some of them are private organizations who is working for the conservation of natural resources. Okay, the first one is we will discuss the government organization. Government organization means the ministry, the government ministry of environment, forest and climate change, MEFCC. So Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. This ministry is organized like they are working for the conservation of natural resources, like the designation of national park, designation of wildlife sanctuaries, designation of bird sanctuaries, designation of Ramsar site. These are basically done by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. This is the main organization. It is a government organization. I have written here both. The government organization who is working for the conservation of resources. So, like Ministry of Organization, it basically makes the law on national resources conservation and protection. The Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, it basically makes the law. It makes the rules and regulation laws on natural resources conservation and protection. It basically makes the law, like different types of law, like prohibition of human settlement, prohibition of like human interference with the animals, like prohibition of hunting, prohibition of killing of animals, prohibition of teaching of animals, the providing the food for the animals. This type of activity, these types of laws basically made by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Okay, next one is Indian Council of Forestry Research and Education. Indian Council of Forestry Research and Education. This was nothing but the like a part of Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. It was formed under Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change on 1986. In 1986, this ministry have developed one council to forestry research, to research on the forestry as well as for education. This was the second organization who is working for the conservation of natural resources of the nation, of the country. These two are the group. Next is some private organization. They are also working in different way to conserve and protect the natural resources. Private organization, you see, Center for Science and Environment. As organization, Center for Science and Environment, it is Delhi-based organization who is working all over the India. And then Greenpeace India, it is also working all over India. Wildlife Trust of India, this is the third organization who is working for conservation of natural resources of India. Okay, just try to remember the names, nothing else to write. Next, some state organization. State organization means some organization of Assam who is working for the natural resource conservation. Aranyak, you have heard the name one NGO, very large NGO, one of the biggest NGO of Northeast India, and that is Aranyak. You can see here Aranyak. The term Aranyak means Aranya, the forest. So Aranyak, it is working for the conservation of natural resources. Also, it is helping the forest department of Assam in various ways. Like during the flood time, they used to conserve, they used to protect the wildlife like deer, like tiger, rhinos. They used to help give food, give shelter to this wildlife. Next, Assam Science Society. Assam Science Society is also working for conservation of natural resources, as well as if you have seen in like in your school there have eco park. This is also a project of Assam Science Society, nothing else. Then Center for Environment Education, CEE, Center for Environment Education. They are also working for environmental education awareness program and different types of wildlife protection acts as well as awareness program. Next, STEC, Assam Science Technology and Environment Council. This environment center, not council, center. They are also working for the conservation of natural resources of the state of Assam. So these are some organizations. Basically, all of them are private organizations in Assam. They are working for the conservation of nature and natural resources of Assam. Okay, this was the topic which was related to conservation, and different various types of international and national and state organizations who is working for the conservation of natural resources of the state as well as nation as well as internationally, globally. This was the basic topic, and in exam it used to ask write briefly about the international organization working for the conservation of natural resources. Then you have to write about international organization, about IUCN. You have to start from UNO, then UNESCO, IUCN, then World Wildlife Fund Foundation, the Wild Conservation Monitoring Center. This thing you have to write. You have to write about red data book and all. This was the topic of conservation of resources and conservation of natural resources. Next class we'll go to innovation, like not innovation, that means methods of conservation. Different types of methods are given in your book. These methods we'll discuss in the next class. Okay, thanks for today.